everyone, Stephanie with Mama Bear Inc. Thanks so much for joining me today. If this is your first visit, thank you very much. And I hope that you'll consider subscribing before you leave. This is the card that we're going to be making today using some cherry cobbler, crumb cake, and a little bit of designer series paper and a stamp out of the embellished ornaments stamp set. So let's get started. Okay, to get started making our card today, we're going to need the embellished ornaments stamp set because we are using this thinking of you at Christmas sentiment that will be on the front of our card. We're also going to need a piece of crumb cake cardstock. Now this is cut 8.5 by 5.5, scored here in the center at 4 1/4, and folded over to create a standard A2 side folding card. To that, we'll add a layer of cherry cobbler, cut 4 by 5 1/4. We'll also need another piece of crumb cake, cut 2 1/8 by 5 1/8, and a piece of designer series paper, cut 2 by 5 inches. Now, this is from the Merry Moments stack, but you can use any designer paper that you'd like. We'll also need a scrap of Whisper White to do our stamping and some punching, and another scrap of crumb cake to do some punching as well. We're going to start with our stamping, and we're just going to use cherry cobbler ink. There's minimal stamping on this card, and this is the Thinking of You at Christmas sentiment from the embellished ornaments set, and we're stamp that in cherry cobbler. And then take our large oval punch. This measures 2 inches by 1 3/8 inches. And we'll line up our Thinking of You at Christmas sentiment within that oval and punch it out. We're going to punch another oval as well from the crumb cake cardstock, like so. And now that we have our 2 ovals, we're going to take our crumb cake one and cut it right in half. And the reason that we're doing this is because we want to create kind of a shadow around our sentiment. And the easiest way to do that is to just take the same shape and punch it again and try to get your adhesive to work with you. There we go. Punch it again. We're going to put some snail adhesive there, and we're going to move this in until we can't see the edges of the brown any longer. So just like that. And we're going to do the same on this side until the ends of the crumb cake can no longer be seen. And put that down. So now you see that we have this little shadow around the outside of our sentiment. So we'll go ahead and lay that aside. Bring in our card base and our cherry cobbler layer. And on the cherry cobbler, I am going to be adding some ribbon. And I'm just going to take a length of it here and cut it off. And I'm going to do my cheater way, which is to add snail to the back of the ribbon, line my paper up on the grid paper so that I know I'm getting my ribbon straight. And then I'm going to go straight across the front, just like that, in line with the grid. And I will take some snail on the back side now and just fold these ends over and secure them down and trim any excess. All right. So now we have our ribbon there across the front of our card. I also want a bow because I want to put a bow over here. So I'm going to pull out my bow jig because I'm a cheater with bows too. I just cannot make bows. I don't know why. But if I just try to tie them, they look horrible. Bow jigs are not sold by Stampin' Up! As of this moment anyway. That is subject to change, of course. But you can find them online relatively inexpensively in all sorts of different places. So we'll just pull that off, and I've got my little bow, and I'm going to set my bow aside. Bring out my piece of crumb cake and designer series paper, and I'm going to layer these pieces up, making sure to center my designer series paper inside of my crumb cake. Okay, we're going to take our cherry cobbler layer now and get this layered onto the front of our card base. And wow, my snail is really not liking me today. There we go. There we got her going. All right. Now then, we will take this and layer it up on the front of our card, making sure to center it nicely. We're going to take our rectangle that we created and layer it onto the front of the card. And it is going to layer off to the left-hand side. And we're just going to ensure that we have the same border top, bottom, and to the left. Like that. There we are with that. We're going to bring in our little bow now and a mini glue dot. And we'll just put a glue dot on the back of our bow. Well, I say we will. Okay, we did. And center the bow up onto the crumb cake ribbon across the front. And then we will cut our little tails. And I always just put a little slant to my tails just for decoration. And we'll take our sentiment, thinking of you at Christmas, and some dimensionals. We'll put a couple of dimensionals here on the sentiment and get those backs off. Oh my goodness. Well, I say we'll get the backs off. There we go. All right, and then we will take our sentiment and just kind of layer it a little bit over that designer series paper. And we have completed our card for today. Thank you guys very much for coming and hanging out with me. I've enjoyed spending time with you, and I look forward to doing so again soon. Take care.